What's up, everybody? Welcome to Riffs and Reactions. My name is Ian. On today's video, we are going to review and react to the brand new Northlane song called Cut It. Cut It is off their upcoming album, Anemoia, that comes out October 30th, which is very exciting. Northlane and I have an interesting relationship. I got into them from their first two albums, Singularity and Discoveries. Those two albums are like top tier metalcore. And then in 2015, they put out Node, and I thought it was good. It just, at the time, I was like, kind of like the old stuff better. However, I kind of went on a hiatus from all the new stuff until Obsidian came out. And Obsidian, I really wanted to like it. I know a lot of people loved Obsidian. It just wasn't for me. I wasn't a big fan. Loved Carbonized. I actually liked Plenty a lot on that album as well. It kind of just made me not really be into Northlane at all for a while. And then last year, they re-released and re-recorded Node. And that reloaded version of Node is awesome. I actually think that's a no-skip album for me, and clearly I just had slept on it at the time. So I actually been playing that quite a bit last year and into this year. And then they dropped Evian earlier this year, and it's like, okay, they're probably going to put out an album, so I should probably go back and listen to some of the other stuff. A couple days ago, when I found out they were going to put out Cut It, I went back and listened to Alien again, and I'm like, whoa, that's a really good album. I think for me, the electronic stuff with Northlane is just a little bit too... It's too techy for me. So when I listened to Evian the first couple times, I'm like, there's just way too much like house music sound to this. And then I have to say, I listened to it a couple days ago and I was like, okay, this is actually pretty fucking good. So I think I just need to let these things grow on me a little bit more. It sounds like I'm a little bit late on this, had some family stuff going on. It sounds like this is a little bit more like Alien based on the comments I've seen. People like this song so far. Without further ado, let's get into the song and cut it, shall we? Before we kick this off, that album art is fucking sick. And I do think that it's better than the Evian album artwork, to say the least.
I got nothing else left, and my body is a graveyard.
Okay, alright. Riffier than Evian already. That's good. Really like that intro.
Someone's getting put to work, body start to back it in. You're about to give it up. This is too predictable. Something's gonna get to you. All the shit is getting rough. Now the sky says red.
Yes.
Take me out, I'm turning to dust. I can't wait for death. Nothing left, and my body is a graveyard. Off with my head, won't let me out. I will not say good enough. The points of play is sexual hits around my neck, suspended, waiting
God, you can sing. I don't like this part. It's not for me. I prefer the chorus on Evian to Cut It's chorus, but... I love how they changed up the tempo on the second part here, the second time around. I like this one. I like it. God, he can sing, bro. Woo. Whoa. Holy shit. Way to finish. Damn. All right. Well, that was Cut It by Northlane. All right. All right, guys. Well, that was Cut It by Northlane. And I've got some notes here. Listened to the song 5 more times since recording. I liked it more and more every time I listened to it. Very similar to Evian. I didn't really give it a chance, clearly, until a couple of days ago. And I heard it a couple more times, listened to it in the car with my really nice stereo, and I was like, okay, I get why people dig this for sure. I heard a lot of people saying that this song sounded like Alien. I would definitely agree. It was much more like Alien than it was Obsidian. Well, you did hear a little bit of the Obsidian elements in there. I definitely agree with that assessment. I'm not a huge fan of Obsidian. There were just a couple of songs I liked from that. Just very little guitar work, just very like low tune chugging. Not a lot of riffage, other than the song Plenty has some great riffage in there. But just, again, not a ton of riffs in this one, but it was much more riffy than Evian and Obsidian as a whole, for sure. They're such an interesting band. I mean, I'm sure you guys probably agree. The people who love Northlane. In this genre, when bands like sort of change, they typically gravitate to like a radio rock sound, as we all know, like Wage War, Architects. There's a ton of bands we could go into. Northlane has definitely changed their sound since the early stuff for sure. They haven't gone to like a more ear-friendly sound. They haven't tried to capture a wider audience. They've almost become more unique, which I think is really, really cool. And on paper, this isn't the type of metalcore that I like, if I'm being honest. Era Self-Titled is my favorite album. I'm a big Era fan. I love Periphery. This is not the typical type of stuff that I listen to in the genre, just because I really like guitar work. Love the groovy riffs in the song. It sort of started from the jump. Marcus hits the harsh vocals, bodies in a graveyard, and then it sort of explodes from there. And then the second verse, after he says the same thing, it sort of changes the tempo a little bit and adds a little bit more synth to it. I thought that was cool. Much more guitar work than we heard in Evian, like I said already a couple times. Marcus's voice, the dude, everything he sings, I'm a huge fan of it. Whether it's harsh vocals, clean vocals, I think the dude's one of my favorite vocalists in the scene. Honestly, he sounds very unique. Evian, the chorus of Evian, he belts it. It's one of the best choruses of the year by far. So he did get to show off his range a little bit here. I just wish they didn't put those effects on his voice in the verses. I'm going to talk about that in a minute in more detail. He's the last guy that you need to mess with in terms of like what he sounds like. The breakdown was sick when he said, "Cut it!" and then it just explodes with a wall of sound, sort of. It felt like it was kind of building up for the last minute of the song. And then the eventual moment when it hits us, I want to say it was unexpected, but I didn't expect it to sound like that. Pretty cool. The only cons, like I said, I wasn't a fan of the verses. That would have made this song like a 9.5 out of 10, 9 out of 10, whatever. I understand what they were going for here for sure. And it does fit the song for sure. It just didn't vibe with me personally, if I'm being honest. I could always use some more guitar work. That's the only other con. And we know these guys have it in them, right? When you listen to the first 2 albums, so much diversity, so much like progressive guitar work. I just would like to hear more of that. And maybe we hear a little bit of that in the album. We'll see. Overall, upon listening to it initially, it wasn't like a wow song for me. And it probably showed that way on the reaction, but it's already gotten stuck in my head a little bit since listening to it a few times. I ended up really liking the chorus. It grew on me. It's definitely heavier than I was expecting. After hearing Evian, I thought it was going to be a little bit more digital. It sounds a lot more like something we would have heard off of Alien. And like I said before, a lot of people are saying that on Reddit. And I would tend to agree with that. Very cool song. It's got me intrigued as to what the album's going to feel like, sound like, all that stuff. Anemoia, the name of the album, it refers to a nostalgia that you never actually experienced, to kind of summarize. So I wonder if that's the theme of the album, of their sound. You know, maybe a throwback sound to what they sounded like on Node, Alien, but maybe a modern twist on it. Because obviously they added a ton of what I'll call house music in Evian. I could definitely see them kind of mixing the two together. Very excited to hear what the album's going to be like. I've been on a big Northlane kick. I really, really, really like Node Reloaded. I really like Alien after listening to it a couple days ago for the first time, like all the way through. I'm very excited to see what they do with this. I know Jordan Fish helped produce the vocals on this, and I don't know how I feel about that, if I'm being honest. I definitely heard some of his influence on the verses that I didn't like, by the way. It was definitely reminiscent of some of the Bring Me stuff. If you listen to the song Obey on Posthuman, the first Posthuman, he does that stuff with Ollie's voice in that song as well. And even when you hear Youngblood come on, his part, that sort of like, I don't want to say corpsey vocal, but like the high effect vocal stuff, you heard it a little bit in the verses, and not sure if that's good or bad. So anyway, that's my assessment of the song. Overall, I'd give it like an 8 out of 10. I wasn't crazy about it, but I really ended up liking it a lot more as we went on. Do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel. We will be back soon with more music. This year is already shaping up to be one of the best years in metalcore of all time. So I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.